simple animation example. So if you're not used to it, for this activity, there's already been some good posts about how to load an SVG and its dependencies. But in this basic example here, here's the SVG code. We're giving an ID, setting width, height, some of its requirements right here, a little bit of inline styling, and then giving it the circle tag inside for the type of shape, which can be a rectangle, polygon, ellipse, or a circle. And then we're setting the different animations inside here. Some people call this the animation sandwich, SVG animation sandwich. I've seen a few different things, but basically these are kind of stacked on top of each other, sort of like keyframes. So we got a little bit of JavaScript up here. This is just for the click functionality, which I'll walk through, but everything's being set inside this SVG tag as far as the animation. So we'll go over and take a look at that live now. Alright, we'll go ahead and open up this example right here, and we'll see this animation going on. Dropping on the Y coordinate, expanding the radius all the way out, and then this is somewhat of an extreme example of the SVG animation to text, but you can see that's all animated live, giving it a really cool effect. Alright, now we'll take a look at this in Chrome, and we'll also try the click functionality. Chrome seems to render the animation a little smoother. So we'll see it open up here in just a minute. Loading. Should see the ball drop. There it goes. Ball's dropped. We'll start blowing up. There comes the text animation. And now this is animating the SVG through a set timeout in the JavaScript. And you can see the difference here. I think the text looks a little better. The effects look a little more crisp. So you can also see the difference in the rendering side of different browsers. Alright, so we'll go ahead and take a look at the code again here. You see that I'm actually commented out one of the steps of in the animation for the radius to enlarge, and I'm actually calling that through a click of that button. You'll see it's doing a set interval function that's calling the animate, which actually is going to increase, that's every 20 milliseconds, so it's running that speed to run this function, which is increasing the new radius, which is +2 to the original radius. And that's going to continually build off each other to get larger and larger. Now as far as the whole title, or the text SVG, that is actually an image that I'm loading in. And now I didn't create this whole SVG myself. It's actually from an example, so where credit's due, you can look at my references. But this example, I did a couple minor changes, but this is all what's happening, what's going on with the text. And the text is actually right inside here. So you can look in the code or look at the examples if you want to dive further into that. But you'll see here how the steps work. So we'll go ahead and we'll walk through how these steps are happening. Alright, so basically we'll look at a few of the common tags that we'll use inside the SVG tags as far as animating it and moving it and transforming it. Now there's a ton of these. I'm not going to go into detail. There's literally probably 100 different things you can do. If you look at my resources under the W3 schools, you can see a lot more. So we'll touch on the animate first. And each of these are inside the SVG tag and they're self-closing, so they have that slash at the end. So you don't need a opening tag and a closing tag. The animate tag basically defines how an attribute of an element changes over time, and some of the attributes it can have is the attribute name, from, to, duration, and repeat count. In the example we're using, we use attribute name for color, we use from as a starting point, 0 seconds or 5 seconds, to either an ending value, so an ending color or an ending size, duration, how long it takes to do the cycle, and then repeat count, which can be infinite or a specific number. The next one we'll look at is animateMotion. This causes a reference element to move along a motion path. You can give it a calculated mode, which will kind of set its pace, discrete linear pace spline, a path. This is the motion it goes along, key points, how far along the motion path the object will move at the moment in time. So basically, less points it'll travel along, more points it could have more variation. Rotate as regular, degrees based out of 0 to 360. X-link href, that's a URI reference, so just kind of like an href in an HTML element, and then you would tie that up with the path, the motion path of where it's going to go to. The next one would be animate transform. This animates a transformation attribute on a target element, thereby allowing animations to control translation, scaling, rotation, and or skewing. So like in CSS transformation, same sort of thing. You can give it a by attribute, from, to, and type. So giving it a value, by how much, from, wherever you want to start from, if we're rotating 0 degrees, and then rotate by, and then to, if you wanted to end on 360, full circle. And then type can be a few different options, whether you want to translate it, scale, rotate, skew, X or Y. So those pretty much cover the basic ones you use for animation: animate, transform, animateMotion, and animate. And then we'll go look at the resources here, which you can go through, 4 different resources. The web platform has tons of good examples. The Moz Developer Network has examples and proper ways of using it. Adobe Blogs has some examples and some CSS combinations with also scripting, kind of like what I did in this as well. And then W3 schools would have the best reference if you want to check that out. And that's pretty much all we have. If you want to look any further, you can look into the code or the references provided.